Okay, we are back.
right.
Hey, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you all for watching. We have a very special guest interview. Some
Yes.
very dear clients of ours, Mark and Brandy.
Yes.
They got a pretty phenomenal story. We think it's going to give a lot of people a lot of hope, a lot of inspiration. And if you guys listen closely enough, you'll probably be able to learn a couple good things that might make your life a little bit better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's been a long journey, but a very effective one.
Totally.
A really character building one. And it's just been, it's been an amazing time to see these incredible people, have support and grow more in their health and together and everything. And it's really wonderful. So we're really looking forward to you guys hearing their story.
Totally. We are not allowed to pick favorites, unfortunately, but these guys definitely have some of our not favorite stories.
They're pretty top.
Sure.
They're pretty top tier.
Yeah, big time. So without further ado, Brandy, Mark, would you guys just mind introducing yourselves quickly to the audience, letting everybody know who you are and what you're about?
Hey, I'm Brandy Dills, and I have been in here with ReVitalized Academy for almost a year. Didn't really get started till like maybe 9 months ago.
Yep, something like that. That sounds about right.
I'm in a much better place right now than I was 9 months ago.
Very cool. Very cool. And what about you, good sir?
My name's Mark. I've been kind of sidelining. My wife's been the priority, so I've been on the sidelines, backing her up when I can, helping her out when I can, and she's doing most of the learning and teaching me as she goes. So she comes up with, you got to do this, you got to do that. Justyn said you need to do this. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, totally. One thing you guys will pick up on real quick is that these two are a dynamic duo, if there ever was one.
Yes, definitely. They're a great team.
And we just want to tell you all about them. So why don't we just get straight into some stuff. So Brandy, just real quick, Mark, feel free to speak in whenever you need to as well. But can you guys just kind of go over a little bit of what life was like before? Like what kind of stuff were you guys going through? What was the situation you were in that made you even want to join the academy in the first place and sign on and work with us and all this kind of stuff? Just to give people some context, because if they understand where things were before, I think it makes where things are at now a heck of a lot cooler. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Well, I was struggling with muscle injuries about 8 years ago. So when I turned 40, it's like my life just fell apart. And over the last 3 to 4 years, it's like the chronic stress that I've been dealing with just threw me in a downward spiral. And it was, now looking back on it, it was mostly stress related that was making my body just so out of whack. But we have just been dealing with a lot of difficult emotional stress. And I would have to say stress is my biggest one. But the muscle injuries and all the chronic stress, chronic pain, fatigue from all that just really did a number on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to let you say the number just so people don't think that we're trying to inflate nothing. But when we did that tally, how many specific conditions and problems and symptoms were you having right at that very beginning for the first few weeks or first month or so?
When I joined back in July, I had been to at least 20 different doctors, and they had diagnosed me with 30 different conditions or diseases. And probably at least 100 symptoms, like just crazy, mysterious symptoms that developed in the last 3 years. And it's like every day it would just get gradually worse and worse and worse, because not knowing what was wrong with me just put me in more chronic stress already. So, about 30 different things that I was diagnosed with.
What were some of the most impactful ones? What were the ones that you were really fighting against the hardest, that were having the biggest hurt in your life at the time?
Well, I was with another doctor when I first came in, so I didn't get like fully 100% in until like November of 2023. But what we were intensely working on at the time was hypothyroidism. They had actually diagnosed me with like the Hashimoto's. So I was dealing with severe hormonal imbalances along with like PCOS. And SIBO was a huge thing. I had 6 different types of gut infections. And the doctor that I was with, she was worried about me being going into sepsis, like being septic and being hospitalized because it was that far along. Like I was literally 91 pounds, a bag of bones, no muscles. Just, it was awful. It was, I mean, I feel like people looked at me like, that's got to be painful, you know, just from looking at me, from people that have known me all my life and what the healthy me looked like.
Totally. You know, I think that kind of stuff is just, it's such important details, because when you say like stress, you know, people think like, oh, they're under a lot of pressure. Maybe they don't sleep so well. They have a tough time keeping food down, that kind of stuff, you know, and it's, stress wasn't the only thing you were going through. Obviously, you know, we have come to the conclusion time and time again that it was probably the first linchpin in this series of, you know, terrible things that just happened, and it was the one that kind of broke down the walls, suppressed your immune system, led to a poor diet, and then that led to something else, and that led to something else, and it just, you know, it became like a massive just cluster of horrible things going on.
Yes.
One thing that I remember from the very beginning that was a really big problem we had to spend a lot of time on was your diet, because it was very, very hard for you to keep anything down. The list of foods was, you know, you could put it all basically on one hand. What was that like just living with that and dealing with that?
Well, I cried every day. I had mental breakdowns numerous times a day.
Regularly. Yes.
Like, he didn't know what to do. Like, I mean, it was really bad.
No, you guys were an actual godsend, because I was out of options. I had no idea.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
I had
we appreciate
maybe
that.
5 foods that I could eat every day, and had been eating for the last year before I even met them. So I could put a bite of food in my mouth, and immediately I would get dizzy and I would start having a panic attack just from taking a bite of food. And then everything was, I would be so dizzy, everything would be spinning. I would just be in fight or flight the entire time I would be trying to eat my meal. And with the
what
foods,
was the dizziness from?
It just
was that
gradually,
just the pain or the stress, or because most people, like, they hear dizziness from eating food and they probably don't really understand what you mean.
What was that?
Oh, so I was just saying, what was the dizziness coming from? Was that just you were in a lot of pain? You had you mentioned the panic attacks and things like that? Because like you mentioned, you eating food and then feeling dizzy. Most people probably don't really know what that means.
I think it was the fact of just not having a lot of food in my stomach, and when food would hit my stomach, it would give me this weird feeling, but I was also struggling with low blood sugar. Like, I was hypoglycemic. I think that had a lot to do with the dizziness and just
the imbalance.
Just being in the fight or flight every time I ate, because I was so anxious around it. And food just gave me complete anxiety, because over the last 2 years, it was like every day I was developing an allergy or an intolerance to different foods. So I was like, okay, well, I can't eat that. So the next day, you know, I developed something else, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I can't eat that. So I got down to like 5 different foods maybe that I was eating on a daily basis. And it was just really stressful with all that. But it came down to, they diagnosed me with mast cell syndrome, to where you're just become intolerant to so many foods. Like I did a food map, and my dairy was lit up like a Christmas tree. The only thing that was safe foods for me pretty much was meat. I could eat those without having any reactions.
Dairy, nuts and seeds, vegetables.
Yeah, and it was like they gave me a diagnosis of non-gluten celiac sensitivities. Like, I mean, that if I really went into all the diagnosis, it would take all day.
Fair enough. Sure. It was a lot. It was a lot. And a lot you're going through too, and obviously just like what you said, like just not knowing exactly what was happening and why it was happening.
That's where the anxiety came in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
So a lot of one of the things we really took notice of was just a lot of unanswered questions. You know, like almost any time in the beginning when we would go through our interview process and we were like asking you, like, why did this start? When did this happen? You know, do you have any idea on what it could the cause be of any of these things? And just like, well, no, it just kind of happened.
No one told you.
It took a long time of us like digging and researching and going back through your history and timing stuff with different, events in your life and maybe a medication here or an event there or whatever, and just adding it all together to try to put together a timeline of how this stuff sort of happened and then what we can do about it, piece by piece, that kind of deal. So, okay, we had a situation where you were in a ton of pain, a ton of stress. You couldn't really eat much. Food was becoming unenjoyable. What were there any other big, important moments in that time in your life that you want to highlight, that you want to mention? Anything else that was really hard for you to deal with, or that was a reason why you were seeking people like us?
Well, with all that going on, I was having a whole lot of anxiety, and the depression really got to me. Because there were days I just couldn't even get out of bed to just do my normal things around the house. And right there before I met y'all, it was a daily thought numerous times a day that I just didn't want to be here anymore. I was just so miserable. And I was always feeling like there's no way out. And I was just emotionally dysregulated, unstable, didn't know how to deal with things physically or mentally. I called it the pit. Because that's what it felt like. Yep. I was in this pit. I felt all alone because no one understood, what I was going through.
Totally. Well, I mean, you talk to anybody and you say you got 100 different things going wrong with your body, and they're going to either think you're crazy or just be so overwhelmed. They're like, well, sorry.
I know. When I sent y'all the list, I was like, I don't even know if they're going to believe me.
Yeah. I can understand. I can understand. I remember when we first got it, I was like, the first thing I said to Elle was, if we printed this thing off, this would be longer than my flipping arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that the human body can handle the different amount of things that you were going through. And then to the level of them, like there was like, hopefully you don't mind me sharing, but just to kind of really add some context, like in the very beginning, one of the first things that we were going through was just like where you wanted to be, like what your goals were, where you wanted to get to, and where your like your faith was and your hope in yourself was, that kind of thing. And just it stuck with us. I remember it like it was yesterday. I just want to be able to go in my garden and garden again. Even if it's just like 1 or 2 days a week. I just want to be strong enough. I can bend down. I can take care of my plants. I can grow some food, and I can just be outside. And I'm just like, wow. Just imagine what kind of a life it would be like to not be capable of gardening. You know what I mean? At your age, you're not like 99 years old.
No, yes. you're a young, strong woman.
Exactly. You're not even middle age yet. And so just if that's the kind of spot that you were in, where mentally and physically, just your hopes and your dreams were to be able to garden again, which by the way, that's been exceeded.
Yes.
It's just like how exactly. It's just like how hurt and suppressed must your body have been, where that's where you were at. You know what I mean? So when you talk about a pit, it's just Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I can understand why I would feel like that, because
there were days she didn't get out of the bed.
totally,
Actually,
yep,
weeks.
Weeks, yeah. I would go to work 12 hours, come home, fix her food, bring it to her in bed, and then get up the next morning, get her what she needed, go to work for 10 or 12 hours, come home, fix her food, take it to bed. Because she didn't get up.
I
totally.
just didn't have the energy to get up. Like, a lot of times, the only time I got up was to go use the bathroom, and I was scared the entire time going to the bathroom that I wasn't going to make it back to the bed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And it's, unless somebody's experienced that kind of fatigue and pain and just the muscle weakness and the bone weakness that you were going through at the time, where it made stuff like that a chore. People don't really get it, but it's just hearing about it should be enough, to really paint a picture. And okay, so we wanted to keep this interview as happy and optimistic and everything as possible. And obviously we're trying to detail of almost a decade of health problems in 10-15 minutes. So there's a lot that we're going to have to leave on the table. But from that point, I think that's enough to kind of give people some context and where things were starting at.
Yeah.
From that point, so fast forward, you got a hold of us. You saw some videos from some of our other clients on TikTok, and then we started talking, and we had a Zoom meeting, and we had an interview, and all of us met together, and you guys got to know us. We got to know you, and then we started this whole process. What was that like from your guys' point of view? What were some moments that you remember that stood out to you? What was some stuff that kind of gave you enough hope to give it a try, think that it might work, all that kind of stuff? What was the experience like for you guys?
Yeah, just the hope was the biggest thing, because I had lost hope that I was ever going to get better and that I was going to be that way for the rest of my life. And it was very gloomy. So when I started talking to y'all and watching the videos, and Kristen will always have a special place in my heart, because
absolutely.
I mean, oh my goodness, she inspired me, and just that hope just filled me just by watching her videos. That just from what she came from, how she felt, I mean, mine was, a little bit more extensive, but I knew in my heart it could be done.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's what just kept me, pressing on, that I know I can be fixed and healed.
That's so cool.
That's really beautiful.
Okay, so Kristen's videos were a big part of it. Was there anything else that stands out to you that sort of gave you some of that hope, helped you kind of take those first steps?
Well, the mindset is what really, really helped me. Because I had been in such a horrible mindset, especially the last 3 years, but honestly, most of my life.
Yes.
Like, just the programming that we talk about, and just things that are normalized, and just getting a grip on
trauma,
on my just trauma from childhood, and just experiences through life. The mindset just really helped me get a grip, because I had a hard time with like letting things go, and like things in the past. It wasn't even things in the future. It was things that I could not do anything about, that had already happened. And so that was just, it was just eating at me, and it was stealing my quality of life.
Yeah. So over everything that you guys have accomplished together, because you guys did this together.
Totally.
Absolutely. Just Mark needs Brandy, and Brandy needs Mark. You guys are awesome team.
Absolutely.
How would you describe your life now? Like, how would you say like what you've accomplished? Like, how much it's changed your life now?
No, you're doing great. I am a talker, but
I am so grateful for another chance at living. And every day, that's my first thought when I wake up. Before I even open my eyes, actually, it's like, I'm just so thankful that I'm here to be experiencing everything new that I'm learning. And I know it was some difficult times, but I've also learned a lot in these difficult times that has just made my life so much better every day. And just even my interactions with my family, my kids, just everything is just so much more peaceful.
With gratitude.
Because my body is peaceful now.
That's so cool.
Beautiful.
That
Praise
is so
God.
Cool. Okay, so why don't you just go into a little bit more detail on what a peaceful body feels like? You know, so we started out a lot of pain, a lot of stress, couldn't eat much, couldn't get out of the bed, hoping and dreaming and gardening. Where's things at now compared to then? You know, how is your body feeling different? How is your mind different? Did you ever make it to the garden? You know, the people, the suspense is
they need to know.
Up, you know, we gotta tell them what's going on
now. Well, with the mindset, I guess my biggest thing was fear. The anxiety was just causing fear of everything in my life. And I've really focused on gratitude and just making time to meditate every day and pray. And I had lost faith in God a whole lot because of some circumstances that came up in situations in our life. And y'all helped me get back to all that.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could ever do anything to repay y'all for
That's
it.
not even what it's about. Come on now.
Because it just gave me my life back, my hope back. And my hope was in God, but, you know, I lost my way with losing trust in people, you know, over the last few years. But just, I just have a new appreciation for life every day. And connecting with nature is amazing. Yes. Something I've always loved. I mean, he'll tell you I would spend hours and hours outside just, you know, just piddling around doing things that need to be done. And that's one reason I think I got so depressed is because I just couldn't do the things I loved anymore. I couldn't even do the things that I needed to do, much less the things I wanted to do.
You know, I never thought I would hear her say she wanted to go on a hike. She's like, getting in the woods and seeing nature and hiking, that would be great.
It's just that is the part of
let's go.
The grounding me and the peacefulness. You know, just getting outside and clearing my mind and just thinking about the things that really matter instead of everything that doesn't matter.
Okay, so that's good. Sounds like a lot of our mental stuff, a lot of the deeper conversations we've had, the mental wellness exercise, a bunch of different things. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. The peace that can never be replaced. Just, you know, the hope that you're talking about. I mean, that's something that diet can never do for you. Exercise can never do for you. They can all help, you know, but that's a pretty necessary part. So sounds like your mind is doing a lot better. Would you agree?
I'm surprised that mental health has as much to do with your physical being as it does.
Yeah,
and we've learned that. For sure.
we had no clue. I mean, I've always heard over my life, stress will kill you, but
it really will.
I learned firsthand that is a very true saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, along with some valuable lessons of.
For sure.
You know,
for sure.
I've felt like the last decade of my life, I feel like I've been 90 years old, trapped in a, you know, I'll be 48. I feel like I've been 90 years old this whole time. Just the aches, the pains, that's what I imagine it would feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, the mind's a very important thing, and that's doing a lot better. How is your body feeling? Like, where's the pain at? Where's the sickness at? I know you were getting sick all the time in the beginning. How's that going now? How's your immune system feel? How's your energy levels? Where's your diet at? What can you eat? What can you not eat? Just where's the physical part?
Well, I'm not bedridden anymore.
That's awesome.
That's a very good
That's
thing.
awesome.
That's a great thing. And I used to be, for the last 3 to 4 years, I've been sick every 2 weeks to a month. I mean, it's unreal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
we're not just talking about like the sniffles or a
little
bit under the weather.
Yeah,
we're talking sick.
Yeah, this is out sick.
Like, I've probably had COVID 10 different times, just pick up the symptoms from everyone else around me. Yeah, and it is not only just colds. Like, in the last 5 to 6 months, I was exposed to shingles, and I've had 3 different shingles outbreaks. The worst.
And that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
On paper, but it's actually a really, really cool story. So could you please go into that one a little bit more? Just what it was like the first time, and then the second time, and then the third time, if we even want to call it a third time. Yeah. Because I think that's really cool.
The first one was awful. Like, I couldn't get out of bed for 3 weeks, and then the symptoms lingered for about 8 weeks, maybe even 10 weeks. And that started back in April. So it was really bad. It went away for a few weeks, and then I guess, I stressed my body out a little more because I want to get up and do so much. Then I had another breakout. Not near as bad, but I could still tell it was there because I was having some of the same symptoms. But that one was maybe 6 weeks, maybe not even that much. But went away. And then the third time it came back, I could feel it, but very minimal. Like, just very minimal. And I haven't had anything since then. And also, the last month, we have had sickness floating around the house. And me and Mark are the only ones that didn't get it. And just the last month, y'all. Like, and I usually pick up everything. And I'm sick in the bed for weeks.
Totally.
So
I remember one conversation we had, because that second time around, we were talking about just the huge difference between the first time, because like the first time, you were in bed for what, like almost 2.5 weeks, right?
Yes.
I think, just because
Yes.
you're the nausea, the energy, the
Yeah.
pain, like it was bad,
the
right?
pain
It was real bad.
awful.
It was brutal. And then the second time, very symptomatic, still clearly sick. But I remember you told me that you weren't as sick as your son was, who you think you might have got it from, or maybe some other people in the neighborhood. But, your son, clearly a lot younger than you, hasn't had any of these problems that you've had with his health. He's just an average, full-time working man, father, husband, all that kind of stuff. And you went from the pit to now, in a few short weeks between first and second exposure. I mean, your body's already learned and adapted so much. You're handling it better than younger, healthier people than you. I mean, talk about progress. That's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so.
Yes, very cool. It was my son-in-law, and he had an outbreak, and I didn't even really know what shingles was. So he was like, can you see what this is on my back? And I was looking at it, and I just, rubbed it, touched it. So I was exposed, and my immune system was already weak. So it just,
Man.
I mean, it was crazy. Within 5 days, I was full-blown symptomatic. And, I mean, I've always heard it's painful. And thank God I didn't have, like, the big, huge blisters like most people had. Mine looked more like chicken pox.
Yeah.
But it was still painful. Like, the pain, I hurt from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. Like, it was like electrical sensations and neuropathy, and my hands and my feet they would just feel like they were on fire when I would lay down. It was excruciating.
Totally.
But that third time, I did
where your
not
body's at
have...
now. That's so cool. Okay, so your immune system's clearly getting a lot stronger and very fast. where is your energy at? Where is your muscles, your strength? I know that's been a big thing we've been focused on, and I think we've made some pretty great progress so far. Where is that kind of stuff at? Your energy, your fitness, your ability to do stuff like gardening, hiking. I know there was recently a story with a lake involved, that kind of stuff. Where's all that been at lately?
Well, my energy is definitely better. I have days that I don't even sit down. Like, I'm up moving all day long. And, like, I had this, I go to Tractor Supply to get chicken feed or dog food, and I would feel I would cry because it hurt my feelings so bad that I could not pick up a 50-pound a bag of dog food or chicken feed. And within the last 2 weeks, I went and I picked up a 50-pound bag of dog food.
Yeah, you girl.
Did. Abso-friggin-lutely.
Yeah.
You know, because I've always been like, you know, muscular and pretty strong to be as short and little as I am. I mean, you know. So
feisty.
Even dynamite comes in small packages. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was one thing I kept telling myself. The people would load it for me, and I'm like, I'm going to be strong enough to do this.
But when you first started, you would go to the parking lot, cry, and go home.
Yeah, just...
you wouldn't even go in to get anything.
With all the gut pain and the dizziness I was dealing with, I would literally go to the store to get groceries, and I would go in, and I would start having a panic attack because I felt so bad, and I was like, my mind would be like, start spiraling, like, what if I pass out? What if I fall? Yeah. You know, because I felt so bad.
Then you would call me.
And I would leave my buggy in the store with the stuff in it and just leave. But most of the time, what it would end up being is I would sit in my car and cry because I literally did not have the energy to go in and shop mentally, like shop for what I needed and check out and know that I'm going to have to put those groceries in my car and then come home and take them out. I would just give up and I would come back home.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would say you're doing a lot better.
Yeah. I would say so too. Yeah. I would have to agree.
So now, like when you go out, you're lifting, you know, heavy feed and everything, and you're totally good, like going to the grocery store and everything like this.
Oh yeah, I'll carry 3 gallons of milk at one time.
Oh, hey girl.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So it's like, you know, I couldn't do that. I could barely carry one several months ago. Mark's birthday was
Labor Day.
Yeah, it was Labor Day. So the last 2 to 3 years, his buddy Jonathan has been asking us to go to the lake with him. And I have not been in a place where we could go do something like that. So I was feeling pretty good, and we decided to go, and it was amazing. Like, I had energy. We both felt good.
It was better than I expected.
And
that's so awesome.
I mean, it was a great experience just being out in nature, and we've got to go on a boat also. I was pretty nervous about that.
It's probably a 20-minute ride.
But yeah, we drove 20 minutes on the boat to this little cove where we were going to drop the anchor and just float out in the water.
And we did that for hours.
Yeah, we did. And so I was like swimming, treading water, you know, and just, and the whole time I'm floating around out in the water, I am just grateful and thankful to God that I am able to do this because I wanted to do it for so long.
Yeah.
Man, that's bad ass, Brandy.
Yeah, and then I could even pull myself up on the boat when I got back in.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I mean, I think we came a long way from just wanting to be able to garden every once in a while.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
God loves us. Every single one of us. God wants us healthy. He wants us whole. He wants our families put together. He wants us happy with ourselves, loving 100%. Ourselves. And, you know, he's the great physician. He's the one that heals. And he answered your prayers.
100%. And you
Yes.
guys are living proof that no matter how deep the pit is, you can pull yourself out of it.
Dang right you can.
Look at where you're at now. I mean, that's
And that was my prayer for a long time. Is I would pray, even though I wasn't in the best of places in my life and my mind and my spirituality and my faith and everything, I would pray that, God, I know you're the great physician and that you can heal me and just show me what I need to do, like to get better so I can be better for everyone else around me. And then awesome. I met y'all. So,
That's awesome.
You ask God for help and he will help you.
And
Absolutely.
one of the verses, I watched this video and it was called, He Redeemeth My Life from the Pit. And that's why the pit stuck with me, because he redeemed my life from the pit.
Praise God,
yes.
baby. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. We're not going to be able to go over everything just for the time we got, but I mean, even with all this stuff, like it's just scratching the surface, on where you're going. I mean, you're already at this point now, I'd say healthier than most people in your zip code, with where you come from to where you are, building up with how much stuff you're being able to fight off naturally, your energy levels, all these kinds of things. And it's just, you got at least another 2-3 years of just up, recovery, getting stronger and stronger. And I mean, you're going to, even after all this stuff, you're going to come back and you're going to be way better than you ever were before all this happened.
Way stronger, all the things.
You're going to be in your early 50s and you're going to be able to whoop your 20-year-old's ass.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that, and it's benefited everyone in my house just because I'm in a healthier place and I can teach them too. Like, I have 3 daughters and 1 son and 4 grandchildren. So I can pass on some little information to them. And like my 17-year-old, she's really improved since then.
That's
she's
cool.
went through her own little health problems since she was 14, and she's doing a lot better, much better physically and even mentally, because I can help teach her and even coach her with the whole mindset.
Big time. And that's the beauty of this stuff.
Yeah.
She's the teacher. She learns it from you guys, brings it home, tells everybody else.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's one thing that's great about you too, Brandy, is like, because you really prioritize learning. Mm-hmm. Not just focusing on your health. You always thought about the bigger picture, because you getting healthy wasn't just about you.
Right.
That was a huge part of your
seen
why.
Smoke coming off your notepad at least a couple times.
Yeah, I know, right? It's actually awesome.
The notes is next level. You got to start a course or a training or something. Teach you how to note take, because you're awesome.
So with all the success that you guys have accomplished the last little while, what would you attribute most of it to? If you had to really point out a few basic things, what would you say most of your success was really from?
Thursday meetings. Because she talks about it all the time. It's all she talks about. Thursday. It's Thursday.
Yeah, the one-on-one meetings.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yes, for sure.
What else?
Okay. What's some other stuff that stands out to you? If you're going back in your memory and you're thinking okay, this was phase 1,
so helpful,
phase 2,
and,
we did this and we did that change. What were some stuff that we implemented into your lifestyle that really made a big impact?
Barley.
The barley really helped. And I'm still loving it to this day.
I still hate it.
He's not a fan of it. And
hilarious.
I'll stand real close to him and and drink my cup.
Not a fan.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I think the silver has really helped me a lot. The silver, the barley, the raw milk has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the cacao, there's so many things that, and y'all were talking a while ago about, with me telling everybody and helping everybody, but you can't keep that goodness to yourself. You
can't.
No.
You gotta share
just
it with everybody
overflows.
Absolutely. You can't help yourself.
No.
It just
Yeah,
spreads.
exactly. And that's your personality too. When you have some joy and some strength, you want to share it with others.
Big time.
And
that's just
with the way I've been helped, my heart's desire is to help others, and just
it spreads
and help them
Absolutely.
understand the big picture of health. because I did not, until the last 9 months of my life, I did not interconnect the mind, body, soul, just how it affects the physical health. Like, I would have never thought that. We never were taught that, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We were meant to be healed.
Yep.
So what would you say was like the funnest part about being a client in the academy?
Like what's a highlight moment?
Yeah.
Well, I've had so many times that I could just be down that day and not feeling really good, and we would have a meeting. And after the meeting, I mean, it was so different, because I went into it like, I don't feel good. I'm not mentally there. But when we would go into a meeting, like, it's like y'all knew what I needed to hear that evening, and you still do. And that's why I obsess, and I do not want to miss a meeting, because I know I'm going to get something out of it.
It's Justyn's attempt at a Southern accent, I think.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just it makes me sound real
and
smooth.
It's fun. The meetings are so fun.
That's a big goal of ours. We really want to make sure everyone has a good time.
Yeah, laughter is literally medicine. Like
100%.
it is.
100%.
Yeah. So we're funny and you know, do our little bantering and stuff for you guys.
One of us is funny, one of us is funny looking, and it just somehow it comes together and it works.
Oh, brother.
What?
Go ahead.
Ladies first?
No, okay.
Nope.
I literally went first, actually.
Okay,
that was
fine.
the last question. Yeah.
Okay, something I'm curious about, just like some rapid fire questions and stuff like that. What's one thing that you learned since you joined the academy, either on the group meetings, in the course, one of the videos, like TGIM, an article, something that we talked about one-on-one? What's something that you learned that you don't think you'll ever forget?
Oh no, there's got to be.
I know.
And my mind just went.
Mine would be water.
Oh yeah.
Quality of water and the amount of water that a person drinks. You're not getting near enough. Trust me.
Yeah.
I think that's so important.
Yeah, I'll never forget the water. She don't let me forget, but
for me, it would be the salt. Like,
that too. Yeah.
My life changed when I started taking the salt.
This girl eats salt like rock candy.
Well, I mean, we live like that's something that I'm happy you brought that up, because there's a rant coming. Like, there's so many people that wholeheartedly believe that salt is bad for you, because that's what they've been told. Avoid sodium. It gives you high blood pressure. You have hypertension. Blah blah blah. And it's just there's been wars over salt. Right?
Yeah.
There's been countries conquered and dominated because of how valuable and important salt is for human survival. Okay, so it's not bad for you as long as it's actually salt. If it's this weird salt tasting chemical that we have in modern society today, that's probably not very good for you. But the salt that Brandy takes, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and because it's real, because it's coming out of the earth, and it's not been tainted
we recently
by
got our son
connected
with the whole salt shot thing, and he's loving it.
Yes.
Cool.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that! You guys are bonding over salt. That's a family moment
so
right there.
Cute. Yeah, like
so long.
like like a girl needs her minerals.
We take salt together.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Well,
awesome.
the anxiety, like after I started doing the salt for several days, the anxiety was like non-existent, and hasn't been.
Isn't that crazy?
To this day. It's
Because,
crazy.
like, Mark, you mentioned earlier, like, it was a big surprise to you how much the mental health affected the physical health.
Yes.
But this is the exact opposite. How much the physical health affects the mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so interconnected both ways.
Yeah,
it's
true,
you can't separate them. And the fact that people try these days, it's
like,
just making it so much harder on
like
themselves.
blaming things on anxiety.
Yeah.
Not understanding or depression or something like that's not understanding that it's like a person is experiencing that for a reason.
Totally.
Yeah.
Nothing
Well,
happens
he
by
didn't
accident.
do the salt shots for a while. I started them, and I started setting a salt shot on his nightstand. So when he wakes up in the morning, that's the first thing he does before he goes to work.
Yep.
Cool.
And he don't go without them now, because he's like, I did not believe you at first. You know, might thought I was a little crazy.
Yeah.
No,
And then now he's like, I can't go without that because it makes a huge difference in how I feel. Get my day started.
It really does.
Huge. Well, speaking of Mark, I know that most of this that we've been focused on and everything we talked about was all Brandy stuff. And like you said, you were kind of playing, the sidekick. You were the Robin to her Batman. But you've got some pretty cool stuff to share yourself. Do you mind just quickly running through some point form stuff that's happened and changed in your life from all of Brandy's drill sergeant behavior?
She has, I have a clean colon now.
Hey-o.
That's
a big one.
Yep.
That's going to lead to a healthy marriage, absolutely.
Yeah. And in the process, I guess I've lost 25-ish pounds.
Wow, congratulations.
And managed to keep it off this time.
Absolutely. I think that's the real game changer.
My diabetes, she drills me on cupcakes. No more cupcakes. She's pretty drill sergeant about food most of the time. In a good way.
Yeah.
But, I try to eat what she eats because everything she eats is healthy. But I have lost 25 pounds. My A1C has dropped. I've done some intermittent fasting that you guys recommended that I've done in the past. I've fasted a couple of days in a row at, different times. But all of it's just to get my A1C down and to get my weight at a better level. I could still lose 30 pounds and be happy.
His energy level has definitely improved also the last few months.
Yeah, energy's up.
Awesome.
Because used to he'd come home and want to crash from working. But now it's
he works long hours. That's pretty normal.
Yes.
I guess just not for you guys anymore.
But now I come home after 12 hours and garden and do construction and projects on the shop and I'm in chains in the car and then I go to bed.
Fair enough. Sounds like a full schedule.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just happy enough that your body can keep up with that schedule now.
Right, yeah.
That's awesome. That's super awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you. Any more?
Yeah. Thank you both for sharing. And so, this question, we really want people to understand the value of their health, and how much they really can improve and how much it's really worth it, because you guys have seen firsthand, when you do meet the right people, when you do meet like the right program and stuff, the thing that works for you, right? Because we can't work like with everyone, but when we meet the right people, when the right people meet us, like you guys, then it's what you need for your health. So, just be totally brutally honest. If you had to like redo it again, knowing what you know now and stuff, how much would you pay for like that whole process of the ReVitalized Academy, like of the program? Like how much would you value it, like money wise?
Oh, there's not a dollar amount.
I don't think you can't put a price on health.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't put a price on that smile neither. I think you got the same problem I do. They're just too cute. They get away with whatever they want,
That is true, yes. But I mean, when you see your family member, much less your wife, in the condition she was in, all she had to do is say, I think this will work. And, I'm signing the check. I don't care. Because you can't put a price on that.
Well, before this, I had been with several different doctors, and functional medicine, to be exact, one of them.
And they're not cheap.
And that's not cheap. And with all the supplements that I was taking myself, and I mean, we have easily $50,000 that we've spent over the last 3 years trying to get me better.
Before we got to you.
And some of the things would work for a little while, and then it would just, it would go back, or it would even get worse. And so, I mean, we've spent tons of money trying to get really both of our health, because he's been struggling with diabetes for 15 years. So.
Not so much anymore, doesn't sound like, though.
But I can say all of the other places that we tried didn't dig as deep and did nothing with mental health.
No, they just wanted to throw supplements at it, and most of them didn't even want to change my diet. And that
Really?
has a
Wow.
huge part in
Yeah.
being healthy is your diet.
For sure. I mean,
That,
I would have to agree.
yeah, that's
interesting.
very interesting.
Yeah, so diet changes and mental awareness, like mental health stuff that was coming from y'all for her, that was a big change. We'd never been through that.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's good.
That's super cool.
That's good.
Super cool. Okay, well, we don't want to take up your guys' entire day. We appreciate it an absolute bunch for y'all to be here.
Thank you so much,
your
you guys.
Story,
Yeah.
for being so open and vulnerable. I know that this stuff is not easy to talk about, especially in a public setting where anybody and everybody could see it. But, the few times that we get to work with people that are willing to be open about this kind of stuff, I think it's so important because so many people need stories like this.
They need
help. You know what I mean? So many people are in situations like yours, and having us talk about all the stuff that we talk about and making motivational videos, like that's helpful and that's really cool. But nothing can beat real world experience of somebody who was in your kind of situation and has fought tooth and nail and successfully came out of it.
Right.
And so any chance we get, we want to share as many of those stories as possible because it just brings a little bit of hope back in the world. And you spent a little while already today talking about how important that is. And so we just want to thank you guys so much from the bottom of our heart for being a part of this, allowing us to be a part of your guys' journey, allowing us to walk this out with you guys.
It was a privilege.
To just get to be a part of this awesome story because it's a real privilege. So thank you all for being here. Before we close out, just one last little question. If for anybody that's watching up to this point, do you guys have any last final words, any pieces of advice, anything inspirational you want to say? It could be fancy, not fancy, doesn't matter. Just whoever's watching, do you have any words for them to help them, really get something good from this interview, get something good from your guys' story to help them change their life, whatever it is?
The biggest thing for me is just do not give up hope. It will get better. And I am proof that it works.
Awesome. Absolutely, you are. Absolutely. That's so cool. Never give up the hope. Never, ever, ever give up that hope. All right. Well, we thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Mark and Brandy, you guys are absolutely awesome. Like I said, we're not allowed to pick favorites, but you guys are definitely not favorites. So y'all have a great day. We will see y'all tonight on the group meeting. And other than that, just keep kicking ass because you're really, really good at it.
Yes, you both.
Thank you. We're so glad to be here and to be with y'all.
We thank you guys so much. We're very happy to have y'all. You guys are a big light in the group, in the community. And
absolutely.
It's just, it's all good. It's all good, and it's all going up from here. So thank y'all. Have an amazing day. Say hi to the kids for us. We'll see you guys soon. All right?
Much love. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye, guys.